everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. In this video, I want to talk about the drought that's going on in the American West and Southwest, mostly it seems like, and some weird things that are happening at Lake Mead and Lake Powell. Lake Mead is just outside of Las Vegas. Lake Powell is in southern Utah. They're connected, but I just want to read some of these crazy stories. These are signs of the times, and I don't delight in them. Nobody does, but this is our reality right now in 2022. So we're on KSL.com. That's a Utah news site, and it says Lake Mead falls to unprecedented low, exposing original water intake valve. And here it is right here. Here it is. Water intake valve. It is now exposed because the water levels have dropped so low, and now it's below the opening of the valve up here. See? So, okay. So what's going on? Now, obviously, most of you are probably already familiar with this. A lot of my viewers, I think, are from the West. All right, so Las Vegas. The West is in the grips of a climate change-fueled megadrought, and Lake Mead, the largest man-made reservoir in the country and a source of water for millions of people, has fallen to an unprecedented low. Okay, so let's take a look at the map really quick. Okay, so I went ahead and I pinpointed the beginning of the Colorado River, okay, because this is what feeds into Lake Powell and Lake Mead, and it starts up here in Colorado, and this river is pretty dependent on snow from the Rocky Mountains that melts, and then it forms this river. So it starts up here, kind of, basically northwest of Denver, not too far, and then it comes down this way. I'm not going to follow the actual route, but it comes like down over here. It comes through Utah. Here it is right here. See, this is it, right? Yeah. Here's the Colorado River. It comes down here, and then you have, excuse me, this entire thing is Lake Powell, which is an amazing place, by the way. It's one of my favorite places on earth. I love going down there. I was there one time with a houseboat, and it was just an amazing experience. It's beautiful, but yeah, it's a reservoir. See, that's why it's all you see all this water right here. It's because it's a reservoir, and there's a dam called the Glen Canyon Dam. I think that's what it's called, Glen Canyon Dam. And then it continues down here, okay, going into Arizona, and it kind of meanders, and then it comes over this way, and then it comes over to here, Lake Mead. So Lake Powell, Lake Mead, there are these two big reservoirs in the American Southwest. Lake Mead is just immediately outside of Las Vegas, a place that we're hoping to do a trip this summer to go see my brother and sister-in-law. I don't know how soon it's going to be, but we probably will be going there sometime this summer. So let's zoom out. So you can see, relatively speaking, if we're looking at the whole country, they're relatively close to each other. Lake Powell right here, Lake Mead right here. And the lake in question with this story is this one, Lake Mead. Okay. So the lake's plummeting water level has exposed one of the reservoir's original water intake valves for the first time, officials say. Okay, so it's the first time basically since they constructed the Hoover Dam. The valve had been in service since 1971, but can no longer draw water, according to the Southern Nevada Water Authority, which is responsible for managing water resources for 2.2 million people in southern Nevada, including Las Vegas. Across the West, extreme drought is already taking a toll this year, and summertime heat hasn't even arrived yet. Drought conditions worsened in the Southwest over the past week. The U.S. Drought Monitor reported Thursday extreme and exceptional drought, the two worst designations, expanded across New Mexico, Arizona, and Colorado, all states that are part of the Colorado River Basin. So we've come to this site before on the channel. This is US Drought Monitor, and it's a really handy website to see what areas of the country are considered to be in a current drought, right? And the color coding here goes from none to yellow, which is abnormally dry, and then light orange is moderate drought, dark orange is severe drought, red is extreme drought, and then dark red is exceptional drought. Okay. Now, a cool feature of this site is you can compare 2 years together. So I went to just 2 years ago, or sorry, 3 years ago, 2019. And this is what things look like here in 2019. So you have some yellow, you have some orange, and then maybe just like one spot of this like medium orange. Okay. So this is what it looked like 3 years ago. And this is what it looks like now. It's horrible. Even Kansas isn't looking too good. Although one part of Kansas is looking okay. I would point out, just as a side note, look at Missouri. Missouri maybe has just a teeny tiny little bit of yellow right there, but Missouri is looking pretty good. So is Arkansas, Illinois. Anyway, this changes obviously. So this is just as of right now. Um, but you can see Texas, New Mexico. Texas is really not looking good right now. Utah has a bunch of red. We got some red and dark red in Nevada. Oregon is looking pretty bad. California. Let's just look at a few other dates. Let's go to 2020. Let's go to let's let's go to May of 2020, and let's see what that looked like. Still a lot better than it does right now. There was some red in Colorado, Oregon, California, but very, very minimal compared to this. Okay, that is looking a whole lot better than that. Okay, let's go to 2021. Let's find May. Okay, now last year was definitely not looking good. So, in fact, right now, well, I don't know. Yeah, right now maybe looks a little bit better than last year, but geez, look at all this dark red in Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico. It's looking better for them as of right now compared to last year, but so you get the idea. You can come to this website. I'll put the link in the description below if you want to come and play with it, but definitely a really good tool. Okay, across the West, extreme drought is already taking a toll this year, and summertime heat hasn't even arrived yet. Oh wait, we already read that paragraph. There's another picture of the valve, the inlet valve. Let's see. Okay, water flowing down the Colorado River fills Lake Mead and Lake Powell. Yeah, we were just looking at that on the map. Another critical reservoir in the west, Lake Powell. And the river system supports more than 40 million people living across 7 western states and Mexico. Both reservoirs provide drinking water and irrigation for many communities across the region, including rural farms, ranches, and native communities. So, 40 million people, that is a lot of people. That is rather concerning. The federal government declared a water shortage on the Colorado River for the first time last summer. Yeah, I mean, look at last summer. Let's look at it again. I mean, you can see the Colorado River right here, and it's pretty much completely in dark red for this whole portion that you can see here on the map, with just like 1 or 2 exceptions right here. This was last year. Okay. The shortage triggered mandatory water consumption cuts for states in the Southwest, which began in January. And in March, Lake Powell dropped below a critical threshold that threatens the Glen Canyon Dam's ability to generate power. The West is in its worst drought in centuries. Scientists reported Monday a study published in February found that from the period from 2000 to 2021 was the driest in for the region. I think they messed up there. Was the driest in the region for 1,200 years. 1,200 years. So you know what that means? You'd have to go back to the year 800, around about the year 800, to get as bad as what it is right now. Think about European history. Relatively speaking, that wasn't all too long after the fall of the Roman Empire, which, if I remember right, was like in the 400s. So maybe that gives you some perspective. It was only like 200 years after Islam became a thing, and at that time, I think that's when they did the conquest of the Iberian Peninsula. So it's a long time ago. The human caused, of course, they have to throw that in there. The human caused climate crisis has made the West megadrought 72% worse, the study noted. I find this to be a particularly devious statement because, again, we've talked about this before on the channel. I'm not going to say for sure. I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Earth is simply preparing itself, like it's supposed to do, to become a terrestrial world. It makes sense to me. It's heating. We know that the wicked are going to be burned. Of course, it seems like that's going to be as a result of being in the Lord's presence and being consumed by his glory, according to the verbiage in the scriptures. But either way, it seems to kind of go hand in hand. So I kind of doubt this first part of this sentence. I think that the Earth is just moving on to its next stage. So could be wrong. Let's look at this. So now this is getting kind of gruesome here. Lake Mead drought exposes more human remains. Now, ever since, I don't know when I first heard this, I must have been like a teenager, but it seems like there's always been talk about Lake Mead being a place for people to, get rid of evidence after murders and stuff like that. Well, it turns out that there are indeed, though that it's not just myth. I don't mean to make light of it, but look at this. More human remains were discovered at Lake Mead in Nevada Saturday afternoon following last week's discovery of other human remains in a barrel at the newly exposed bottom of the lake. So, these rumors, these myths, maybe not so much myths, maybe they've been kind of like facts. I don't know. I haven't really covered it that closely or researched that closely, but now we're starting to see the proof. It's starting to be substantiated, and there's a body found in a barrel. It's this one right here. There's the inlet valve again. Last Saturday, boaters discovered skeletal remains inside a barrel at the top of Lake Mead. A severe drought has depleted its water levels so much that Las Vegas' uppermost lake water intake became visible last week. And here's the barrel. It's blurred out, but here it is. Homicide Lieutenant Ray Spencer said the body was that of a man who had been shot. He said the killing probably happened in the mid-1970s to early 1980s because the victim was wearing shoes that were manufactured around that time. So that's currently how they're dating it. I'm sure they'll be able to maybe get a little bit more specific and maybe even identify who this was. But for me, like seeing this happen right now, after having that in my mind for so long, it's crazy to see that those things are starting to show up. Okay, Lake Powell. This is the one in southern Utah. Okay, again, Lake Mead. That's next to Vegas in Nevada. Lake Powell is southern Utah. Lake Powell to receive a boost in water supply. Kane County, Utah. Lake Powell will be receiving a much-needed boost amid dropping water levels. Over 156 billion gallons of water will be transferred to Lake Powell from the Flaming Gorge reservoir, which that's kind of interesting because I've been to Flaming Gorge before, and it's a reservoir, so there's a dam up there, and It's kind of a fun place to visit. It's up here by Vernal, Utah. Uh, let's see. I'll probably have to type it in. Let's see. Flaming Gorge Reservoir. Where is that? Oh, okay. So it's like on the border of Wyoming and Utah. I thought it was like much closer to Vernal, but anyway, this is very scenic country, by the way, out here. But so they're bringing in water from here, from Flaming Gorge, to add to the water supply all the way. So from all the way up here, all the way to down here. Okay, so that's what this article is about. Um, the water was originally set to flow to Lake Mead through the Colorado River. The decision was made to move this water because the reservoir is dangerously close to hitting 3,490 feet of elevation. If this were to happen, the water level would be too low to generate hydropower at the Glen Canyon Dam, which is the Lake Powell Dam down here. So it's currently generating electricity. They're diverting water, giving water from Flaming Gorge up here to down here so that they can continue producing electricity. Okay, that's it for that story. Okay, Colorado River named most endangered river in the U.S. Okay, that's not good. Okay, let's take a look at this. To understand what's at risk, it's imperative to understand the far reach of the Colorado River. It supplies drinking water for 40 million people, providing about half the water used in the Denver metro area. And it is vital to the nation's food supply, irrigating millions of acres of farms and ranch lands. The report says that almost 90% of the nation's winter vegetable crops are irrigated by water from the Colorado River. It supports 1.4 trillion economy and hundreds of thousands of jobs. Here's a graphic here again of Colorado River, starting up here and see, and then it goes down into the Gulf of California right here through Mexico. According to the report, the two largest threats against the Colorado River are climate change, especially rising temperatures and in the American West megadrought, and outdated management and over allocation, which puts reliable water supplies, regional economies, and the river's own health at risk. An ongoing drought across western states has been shrinking the snowpack amid hotter temperatures, which has in turn endangered the river's health. Because remember that the snow from the Rocky Mountains is essentially what feeds this, or probably provides, I guess, like the majority of the water. This is evident when looking at the dry, white rings of rock above the waterline at Lake Powell in Utah and Arizona. Here's a picture of it. You can see the white line where, it should be. Ideally, that's where it would be, is all the way up there. Two reservoirs off the Colorado River that have seen extremely low levels recently. Water is stored in Lake Powell for use in 5 states, including Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, and Wyoming, which I find that interesting because Wyoming's all the way in the heck up there. And the Lake Mead keeps water stored for parts of California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Nevada. So I'm glad that I'm not living there anymore. Originally from Utah, lived in Arizona for several years. In July 2021, Lake Mead was 161 feet below full pool. As of March, Lake Powell fell below the critical threshold of 3,525 feet, the lowest level since the lake filled after the federal government dammed the Colorado River at Glen Canyon more than half a century ago. Again, the lowest since that time, since they started this. This month, the U.S. Interior Department proposed holding back water in Lake Powell to maintain the dam's ability to generate electricity for about 5 million customers amid the driest conditions in more than 1,200 years, according to the AP. If Lake Powell drops even more, it may soon, quote-unquote, dead pool, meaning water would stop flowing into Lake Mead. In preparation for this, Arizona, Nevada, California, and Mexico have already started taking mandatory and voluntary cuts to oh my gosh. Mandatory and voluntary cuts tied to Lake Mead's levels, the AP reported. And that's a really crappy situation to have to do cuts. That really sucks. I'm sorry for anyone that is being affected by that. I know that I wouldn't want to be. Lake Powell's drastic drop in water levels shown in clear satellite images. Here's some GIF images. So you can kind of see it there. There's like a better one here. And you can just see that basically draining. Look at that right there. That is insane. Look at those yellow lines where the water, like the extent to which the water was. See right here, look, 2018 shoreline all the way up here compared to where it is right now, all the way down here. Oh boy, this is not good. Not good. Okay. Northern Arizona may see drinking water cutoff as Lake Powell continues to dry up. Phoenix, Arizona's top water official says he never thought this day would come so soon. Federal officials are warning that the West escalating water crisis could put some Arizona communities' health and safety at risk by cutting off their supply of drinking water. Quote, I'd never thought this day would come this quickly, but I think we always knew that this day was potentially out there, said Bushchaksky. We're going to have to learn to live with less water. Don't want to have to learn to live with less water. No, but there's nothing that you can do when God's judgments are coming upon the world. The goal is to keep water levels at Lake Powell high enough to support power generation at the lake's Glen Canyon Dam and future water supplies to Lake Mead. The two reservoirs on the Colorado River provide 40% of Arizona's water supply. But the lake levels have declined precipitously over the past 20 years owing to a historic megadrought and the effects of human-caused climate change. All right, that's it for that one.
I'm Cuddy.
Okay, very good chance more bodies will be discovered in lake where body in barrel was found, according to police. So they're expecting more to come forth. The two largest reservoirs in California are already at critically low levels, and the dry season is just starting. So now we're talking about not Lake Powell and Lake Mead, but now two other reservoirs in California. Against the backdrop of the water crisis in the Colorado River Basin, where the country's largest reservoirs are plunging at an alarming rate, California's two largest reservoirs, Shasta Lake and Lake Oroville, are facing a similar struggle. Now, Lake Oroville, I know that that's been in the news. There was like a news conference that was done there. The governor of California was there, like basically on the dry lake bed to like illustrate how bad it was, and of course there were politics and stuff behind that, but no, but it is bad. And okay, this week Shasta Lake is only at 40% of its total capacity, the lowest it has ever been at the start of May since record keeping began in 1977. Meanwhile, further south, Lake Oroville is at 55% of its capacity, which is 70% of where it should be around this time on average. Shasta Lake's water levels are now less than half of historical average. According to the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation, only agriculture customers who are senior water right holders and some irrigation districts in the eastern San Joaquin Valley will receive the Central Valley Project water deliveries this year. So only if you have, I guess, seniority status as a customer. So again, that really, really sucks. Lake Powell power production could take priority over Lake Mead water level. Okay, and that's it. So, okay, I found this website right here, National Water Information System, and let me go back to, okay, how do you do this? I was playing with this earlier. I can't remember if there's like a nationwide thing, but basically, statewide stream flow table. That's what this is. Okay, so it goes from red to like a more muted red to orange to green to blue, well, to like a cyan color, to dark blue, and then black is high. So on this chart, you want to see, for your state, you want to see a lot of like teal, cyan, blue, or black. And you don't want to see orange, dark red, or red. Okay. So looking here at Kansas, let me see if I can zoom in. Kansas is looking pretty good. The colored dots on this map depict stream flow conditions as a percentile, which is computed by, okay, so that's what it is. Okay, stream flow, like rivers, streams, stuff like that. So in the western part of the state here, there are some reds and there are some oranges kind of in the mid part of the state, but there's also quite a few blues, greens, teals, as you can see here. Let's take a look at Utah. Okay, how's Utah looking? Not too good. Not too good. They do not have, Utah does not have any of the dark blue. There is a sprinkling of teal, but not very much. There's a lot of greens, a lot of oranges, a lot of dark reds, and then a couple of like the solid red, which is the worst. And I can't really see a pattern as to where it seems like it's all just kind of dispersed throughout the state. So I can't really tell any pattern, but Utah's not looking too good. Let's look at Arizona. Yeah, Arizona's not looking good. I don't see any dark blues. There are some teal, but everything else is not very good. Let's look at Nevada. Where's Nevada? Right there. Yeah, Nevada, not looking good. Kind of in that Lake Tahoe area. It's, well, no, it's not looking good. It is kind of looking good around Vegas, ironically, because Lake Mead is right there, but it's, again, that's fed by the Colorado River. But there's also a lot of reds. Let's look at a few others. Let's look at Oregon. What does Oregon look like? Well, Oregon is looking pretty good. There's a lot of dark blue in Oregon. So that's good. Let's look at just a couple more. Let's look at Texas. Texas, not good. There's a few dark blues here, kind of like in what I think this is like the Houston area or close by. But there's also a lot of reds, a lot of greens. Let's look at California. A lot of red. There's a lot of red in California. There's some dark blues, but they're at the very northwestern part of the state. But throughout the rest of the state, this might be the worst one. This might very well be the worst one. And then let's finish it up with Missouri. What does Missouri look like? Missouri's looking good. Missouri might be the best one because there isn't even any orange or reds on this. The worst that it gets is green, and there's a lot of dark blues, a lot of teals. So Missouri looks pretty darn good. All right, well, that's going to be it for this one. So again, do not have fear of these things. Just do what you can to prepare. Live righteously. Maybe consider moving to the Midwest, Kansas or Missouri, but that's up to you. And that's it. So if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also make sure to share this, and I'll talk to you guys later.